There's a story circulating that is heavy in our culture that unruly Africans were dropped off in Jamaica. Has your research led you to find these statements to be true or false?
That's false. Completely false. In other words, there are unruly people everywhere. And so if that was the case, then how do you explain the likes of Nat Turner? If that was the case, how do you explain the likes of Sansuki, Dessalines, and a number of other revolutionaries in revolutionary Haiti, right? How do you explain all those revolts and revolutions in Cuba? How do you explain all those revolts in Brazil, in Peru, in Colombia, right? In Cartagena, Colombia. How do you explain, I can go on and on. Jamaica is special, don't get me wrong. Not because I was born there. Jamaica is special in a number of ways. But Jamaica definitely has its crop of people who were insurgents, who were revolutionaries, right? In their heart, in their mind, in their spirit. But they were also cowards. They were also betrayers. They were also people that came in this broader spectrum of African peoples, captive African peoples that were brought to the island of Jamaica and other parts of the African world. And so Jamaica has no monopoly on revolutionaries than Cuba or Haiti or Brazil does. So that's completely false that Jamaica somehow was privy to a crop of people that was so unruly that they had a monopoly on revolutionaries. Now, Jamaica does have a history that is very much mixed with violence, mixed with insurgencies, and mixed with maroonage, but other places have that same mixture as well. I think what separates Jamaica or distinguishes Jamaica is perhaps the duration of it, right? And so Jamaica, as many people watching this may know or realize, is that Jamaica, had maroonage from the very beginning, right? In fact, some of the earliest maroons were not from the continent, were from Cuba, by way of Cuba, right? That came over because Jamaica was a Spanish colony before it became a British colony in the late 17th century. Precisely in the 1680s is when Jamaica became a British colony, right? But by then, maroonage started, revolts started. In fact, one of the earliest revolts, major revolts in Jamaica was 1690, and that was led by an African man whose name we don't know, but he was the father of these notable maroons like Kwajo, Anani, who we know as Nani, Ajobi, Kwao, Akompong. That was their father, who led the revolt on the Sutton plantation and sent on the island in 1690. So Jamaica's had this ongoing counter-revolutionary forces against European empire on the island of Jamaica, whether it be Spanish or British, and that continued up until in the 19th century and even 20th century, right? When we think about the island-wide revolts about the gas prices. So Jamaica has, as I will admit, has in their DNA, Jamaican people of African ancestry has this very insurgent force that animates them, right? That sometimes, needs to be checked in terms of how it spills over into intra-Africa or intra-African-centered violence among people of African ancestry. But I'm sure that's another conversation. But the short answer is that no, Jamaica has no monopoly, but certainly it has a history of African peoples who were cowards, who were betrayers, who were instigators, who were loyalists to the European imperialists. And you have people that were also maroons, who were also insurgents, who were also counterinsurgencies, right? So you have a mixture of people that were a composite that essentially made the island what it was and what it is today.